Saudi Arabia, the world's oil capital, is looking to change things up in a major way. Project NEOM is their plan to build a new city which will use Industry 4.0 technologies, all while being powered entirely by renewable energy. NEOM is a city comprising a collection of sub-projects, each offering unique experiences and sights to see. The one you have seen the most is the 170-kilometer-long Line City, promising to conserve 95% of the surrounding natural wildlife and providing its citizens with the ability to travel end-to-end in just 20 minutes. Then we have the lesser-known but equally as ambitious sub-projects like the Port City Octagon, with Sindala, a luxury island, Trojena, a skiing resort in the mountains, and finally Magna, a collection of eccentric self-care resorts. So without wasting any more time, let's dive into this $500 billion mega project and figure out if this will be the game-changing innovation Saudi dreams of, or if it will just turn into another forgotten, overly ambitious mega project. Saudi is known for holding massive quantities of oil, accounting for 40% of their GDP. However, this supply of oil is not endless, and with rising volatility in the price of oil and global shifts towards renewable energy, Saudi is using this as their chance to diversify their economy. In 2016, the Vision 2030 plan was unveiled, laying out Saudi's strategic plans and decisions for the coming decade. Project NEOM, of course, was a major component of this plan. NEOM was first announced in 2017 by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman during the Future Investment Initiative conference in Riyadh. NEOM is envisioned to become a new major global business hub, attracting many international visitors. Sustainability and innovation are the key principles driving NEOM. With a revolutionized perspective on developing urban areas, NEOM will quickly set itself apart from everywhere else in the world with its commitment to using 100% renewable energy and the use of a circular economy. Not only will NEOM be designed and built in a way which leaves the least impact on the world, but it will also provide its residents with improved facilities like schools, hospitals, and state-of-the-art transportation. NEOM's position further enhances its connectivity and influence in global trade, being located along the coast of the Red Sea and close to the Gulf of Aqaba. This allows NEOM to access the 13% of global trade passing through the Suez Canal. The neighboring countries of NEOM are Egypt and Jordan, putting NEOM in a position to be a 6-hour flight away from 40% of the world. This kind of access to international markets attracts innovators and entrepreneurs, turning NEOM into a global economic hub. State funding has been allocated towards the construction of NEOM, but the larger portion of investment into NEOM comes from the Public Investment Fund. As of right now, the estimated cost of NEOM will be a staggering $500 billion. The idea for NEOM is that $500 billion won't need to be invested into the project on day one. Portions of NEOM will be built and then open to the public, which will earn profit that can be reinvested to complete construction of additional portions. If NEOM is a success, this will create thousands of new jobs for Saudi citizens while also bringing in large amounts of foreign investment to finance further development of infrastructure. This will also inspire urban development planners around the world to reevaluate their approach to designing urban areas and implementing advanced technologies and renewable energy. I'm sure at this point you must be thinking, this is all well and good, but I still don't even know what this NEOM is besides a global hub for innovation. And I would say fair enough. It is time I show you what NEOM is really made of. Located along the 120-kilometer-long coast of Aqaba is Magna, a collection of luxury resorts with some pretty wild architectural designs. In total, there will be 11 different resorts to visit, each truly a spectacle in its own right. The ones which really caught my eye were Leja, a hotel in between 400-meter-high mountains. Not good enough for you? Well, then you can go one step further and live in a mountain at Aquellum, which will offer a 100-meter-high vertical living space and the world's first floating marina. If you're feeling in the mood for something more sports-orientated, then Ghidorah looks like the spot for you. Don't ask me how a place like this will be built or even function. All I know is that this is the place for sports in NEOM. Then we have the rest of the resorts within Magna like Epicon, Jaumur, Elanan, Trayum, Norlana, Sirana, Utamo, Zardun, and finally Zainur. They are all resorts, each offering their spin at being over the top in their design and providing luxury accommodation. Within NEOM, there are two more attractions which are geared towards bringing in tourists. They are Sindala and Trojena. Sindala, unveiled in 2022, will be the first luxury island destination within NEOM. For yacht enthusiasts, Sindala is perfect with it, boasting 86 berths for yachts and offshore buoys for super yachts up to 180 meters. There will also be many different hotels, nightclubs, retail stores, and culinary offerings at Sindala. There were some statements about Sindala being open to the public in early 2024. As of recording this video, though, there has been no official opening. Next up is Trojena, a year-round mountain resort 50 kilometers away from the Gulf of Aqaba. Trojena will have elevations ranging from 1,500 to 2,600 meters, while covering an area of 60 square kilometers. At Trojena, you can enjoy adventure-centered activities such as skiing on the 36 kilometers of ski slopes. With temperature conditions falling to sub-zero levels in the winter months, Trojena will be an ideal destination for winter sports, and NEOM is fully aware of this. They are so sure of Trojena's potential for winter sports that NEOM won the bid to host the Asian Winter Games in 2029 and estimates that by 2030 there will be 700,000 annual visitors. As you can tell by now, a lot of what NEOM has to offer are over-the-top luxury resorts existing to lure in tourists. Now we will finally be talking about something other than a resort, Oxagon, the port city of the future. This port city will be the largest floating structure in the world and will revolutionize industrial operations and logistics. You will find Oxagon on the Red Sea in northwest Saudi Arabia. Oxagon will be both a place for innovators and entrepreneurs to call home, as well as a next-generation sustainable port. What makes Oxagon so unique, besides the fact that it floats, is its use of its integrated supply chain orchestration platform, IDSCOP. IDSCOP provides detailed tracking of goods and materials from their origin to their end destination. This system enables real-time monitoring of supply chain activities, making it possible to immediately detect and respond to disruptions or inefficiencies. With the collection of this data and the utilization of AI, IDSCOP can effectively predict demand, optimize inventory levels, and forecast supply chain issues. Using this system will automate multiple sections within the supply chain like inventory management and scheduling of transportation. This will make Oxagon a highly effective and efficient port with IDSCOP continuously working in the background. Oxagon will also be powered 100% by renewable energy, and they will achieve this by using the NEOM Green Hydrogen Company facility, which is set to be the world's largest commercial-scale green hydrogen facility. This facility is expected to produce 650 tons of green hydrogen, which is 240,000 tons annually. The green hydrogen produced will then be converted into ammonia, which is an easier-to-transport form of hydrogen. This fuel will be used to power both Oxagon and many other sectors of NEOM, such as Magna, Sindala, and Trojena. Many other renewable energy sources, such as solar and wind, will also be used to power NEOM. Oxagon is keen on attracting entrepreneurs and innovators with its high-end research and development facilities. Oxagon plans to offer its residents access to expert services, a factory experience zone, a manufacturing talent academy, and innovation labs. This is all to inspire and motivate people to be as productive and innovative as possible. The combination of Oxagon being strategically located on the Red Sea, capturing that 13% of global trade passing through, commitment to 100% clean energy, and services and spaces dedicated to research and development should in theory make this the perfect destination for those looking to grow themselves and their organizations. Did I also mention it's a floating future city? What more could you want? Now for the Line City. Yes, you heard me right. The Line City. This unorthodox approach to urban planning and development is a big reason why everyone is so curious about NEOM. The line was first announced in 2021 by His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Making the city linear wasn't by accident. It at first caught everyone's attention simply because there is nothing else like it out there. The second reason is that designing a city like this will help to conserve up to 95% of its land and nature reserves. The planned size for this city will be 170 kilometers long, 200 meters in width, and 500 meters tall. With these sizes, the line will be taller than famous buildings like the Eiffel Tower and the Empire State Building. The line will have 3 layers. The surface layer will be a space for pedestrians. At this level, there will be parks and recreational areas for line citizens to enjoy while getting some sunlight. Cafes, restaurants, and retail stores will also be spread across this level. Next, we have the residential and workspace layer. Here is where you will find commercial office spaces and residential units. These spaces will be distributed vertically to maximize space, light, and air quality. To further improve convenience for its residents and reduce emissions produced, the line has made a point of placing essential services and nature within a 5-minute walking radius of all of its citizens. It is also within this layer you will find airspace corridors for drones and air taxis. Yes, taxis that fly. At the bottom layer, we have service and transportation. In this layer, there will be an underground high-speed transit system, which promises to deliver its passengers from one end of the line to the other in just 20 minutes. Essential infrastructure such as water supplies, waste management, and energy distribution systems will also be found within this layer. Just like with every other sub-project within NEOM, the line promises to be 100% dependent on renewable energy and implement a zero-car environment. With this all said and done, the line is expecting to house 1.5 million people by 2030 and up to 9 million people once it has completed its full construction. The line is intended to be a city that is built with Industry 4.0 in mind. Advanced climate control systems will be used to automatically regulate temperature, humidity, and air quality. This system will ensure there is a constant supply of fresh air within the line, and the climate of the line never poses problems to its citizens. The line will also use 90% of available data to analyze and enhance infrastructure capabilities. Sensors and devices connected to the internet will all serve as tools in providing the line with crucial data. This data will be used to find and improve inefficiencies in infrastructure and in developing a smart energy grid. The line, once constructed, promises to unify people from around the world in this harmonious and technologically advanced city. Through the power of Industry 4.0, the line will tackle and solve the world's biggest problems while conserving the vast majority of wildlife and nature. The line is truly an ambitious project. While NEOM offers the city of tomorrow, with everyday use of powerful and advanced technologies, minimal production of emissions, and conservation of the vast majority of the natural biodiversity, NEOM is still far from perfect. What may look like an unused and unlived-in desert is actually home to the Huaytat tribe. The Huaytat tribe lives closest to where the line is being built, and that poses real challenges to completing its construction. The Saudi authorities, when building their harmonious and culturally diverse city of the future, decided the best course of action to take was to forcefully evict members of the Huaytat tribe from the area. An ex-intelligence officer alleged that he was ordered to forcefully evict villagers from the Huaytat tribe with lethal force authorized. In one case, it was reported that an individual had been killed while protesting the eviction, while several others were arrested. 47 villagers have been detained, with several of them being prosecuted under alleged terrorist charges. As of now, 40 remain in detention cells and 5 are on death row. Many thousands more of the tribe will be displaced as a result of NEOM, sir. Reports vary on how many people will be affected, but most show that close to 20,000 members of the tribe have or will be displaced. The Saudi government has offered compensation to those affected. However, many claim these compensation packages to be unfair and inadequate. NEOM promises the use of a smart city grid, which will use technologies like AI, big data, and the Internet of Things to analyze and then solve major urban problems. This, in theory, will mean NEOM will be forever evolving, finding the most efficient and effective ways of providing its citizens with convenience and improved living standards. This, after all, is one of NEOM's and the line's biggest selling points, claiming their entire operation will be running on this smart grid. The problem here is the scalability, feasibility, and expectations of the grid. Yes, there are cities which have effectively incorporated smart city features, just nowhere near the level at which NEOM plans to take it, and Songdo in South Korea is the best example of a well-functioning smart city grid. Its streets, which connect districts, are lined with sensors that monitor energy use and traffic flow to provide data to be used in evaluating sustainability efforts for the city. Seaside parks are equipped with self-sustaining irrigation systems, and residents have access to trash tubes, which take garbage to a central plant for automatic sorting. If a resident wants to change the heating, air conditioning, or lights, this can all be done with a few taps of their cell phones. What makes Songdo so effective is the fact that they are building this smart grid over existing infrastructure, taking pressure off of the smart grid to constantly be performing at 100%. The decision was also made to use established technologies to improve conditions. South Korea already has an established economy and technological ecosystem, which gives Songdo a stable base of innovation and implementation to work with. Saudi Arabia is using NEOM as their strategy to move away from an oil-dependent economy, meaning their base to start from is not one of technological innovation. Integrating a smart city grid like this will be a social and culture shock for Saudi residents and can pose significant challenges in educating and skilling citizens to be able to cooperate with the smart city. Keep in mind that Saudi, not being known for its technological advancements, is planning to create a city that far exceeds the abilities of a technologically advanced country like South Korea. A smart city at its core is about the different departments within a city, sharing data to gain a better picture of the whole situation. And what do you need to collect data? Sensors, of course, and not just a handful. With NEOM wanting to manage water, transportation, energy, public safety, healthcare, food security, infrastructure, and air quality, this will require tens of millions of sensors. Everything that happens within NEOM will also need to be captured, and the individual health of someone, inventory levels, search histories, everything. Tens of millions of sensors will produce unimaginably large amounts of data, which, if you want to use, needs to be processed and analyzed. Processing big data is such an obstacle that many governments cannot effectively process data on their own, so they turn to private companies for assistance. Alphabet, for example, which owns Sidewalk Labs, is partnering up with 70 cities in the US to develop data-driven transportation networks. Saudi Arabia will most likely turn to private companies to assist with processing this data, which raises many ethical questions around the handling of so much sensitive data. Alphabet is known for collecting and selling users' data for a profit. The Saudi government is also not exactly known for its unintrusive and liberal approach to privacy and free speech. Jamal Khashoggi, a well-known journalist, was critical of the Saudi government and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, particularly after 2017, when the Crown Prince began implementing various reforms and consolidating power. He raised concerns over NEOM, human rights, freedom of speech, and the direction of government policies. On October 2, 2018, Khashoggi was murdered inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, where he had gone to obtain documents for his upcoming marriage. Allegedly, senior Saudi officials engaged in orchestrating the killing. Do you really want private companies who will sell your data to the highest bidder, and Saudi senior officials, who allegedly don't take so kindly to being exposed for violating human rights, to be in charge of your data? This is only possible, of course, if NEOM can successfully integrate all of these different and incredibly complex systems by 2030. Keep in mind that this advanced city operating entirely on future technologies is supposed to be open to the public by 2030. Different systems each have their own protocols, standards, and requirements, so finding a way for all of these systems to use standardized protocols is wildly complicated. The capital cost required to develop such systems and then maintain them is astronomical. Human oversight is still needed no matter how much AI and big tech are involved. The training of human oversight will be costly, especially with Saudi not being as technologically advanced as South Korea. If NEOM manages to beat expectations and build a highly effective smart city grid that optimizes and improves every aspect of life, many residents of Songdo complain of the city feeling cold and deserted, feeling a lot like the ghost town of Chernobyl. Many feel as though Songdo was designed with technology in mind and people second, and this seems to be the case with NEOM, especially the line just times 1,000. NEOM has a heavy dependence on the successful integration of many untested technologies. The smart city grid we just spoke about is a great example of untested technologies, which NEOM boasts they will use daily. However, there is another technology I'll bring your attention to. NEOM plans to use a green hydrogen facility, which expects to produce 650 tons of green hydrogen per day and will power most of NEOM. As of right now, there is no other green hydrogen facility that produces even close to this much energy. The closest is Refine in Germany, which produces 1,300 tons of green hydrogen annually. NEOM's facility promises to produce half of this in a single day. This requires massive leaps forward in technology used for green hydrogen, which has to be completed in the next few years, as without it, NEOM will have no energy to operate. I want to talk about transportation in the line next because when you really start to think about it, some things just don't add up. For starters, NEOM promises that when new visitors check in at the airport, an autonomous drone taxi will recognize where you are with your picture and will show up exactly at that spot given your time, your gate, and traffic estimation to where you are. This is another experimental piece of tech that NEOM is placing a lot of expectations on. Tesla's self-driving feature is impressive, but is still not perfect with poor weather conditions affecting the judgment of the AI. Flying vehicles do exist, but are all still within their trial periods, and are still awaiting certification for their full commercial deployment. Grand promises have been made that these drone vehicles will transport you around in the line. I mean, they even show it off in all their promo videos. The real question is, would you really trust an entirely autonomous vehicle to transport you through these narrow corridors? I don't think I would fully trust it even if it were a person driving the drone. The railway system also does not make much sense. If the line is 170 kilometers long and it promises to transport you from end to end in 20 minutes, how many stops will there be, and for how long will the train stop? To travel this distance requires the train to be moving at a speed of 510 kilometers per hour, which rivals the current fastest train in the world, the Shanghai Maglev train in China. This train travels at a speed of 460 kilometers per hour. This is still without any stops along the way. Patrick Boyle, an educational YouTuber, broke down how fast the train would have to move to reach this 20-minute goal with stops along the way. Taking average stops from the London and New York Underground railways, there will be a stop every 402 meters. So the line would have 412 stops along the way using this average. Usually, trains will remain stationary at these stops for 30 seconds, which means NEOM's train would be stopping for 206 minutes. This does not sit well with their 20-minute end-to-end claim. Having all of these stops along the way and ensuring an end-to-end transportation of 20 minutes, each stop will have to be for 2 seconds, adding up to 14 minutes spent not moving. To make it across 170 kilometers in 6 minutes, the train would need to travel at an average speed of 1,700 kilometers per hour. Yes, you heard that right, the average speed, so that means there will be times when the train is rapidly accelerating and decelerating, Just so you know, the speed of sound is 1,234 kilometers per hour. So you've got 2 seconds at a stop to get on the train, sit down, buckle up, and then travel faster than the speed of sound just for the train to come to an almost immediate screeching halt for the next 2-second stop. The company which had the best shot at building such a railway was Hyperloop, one of Elon Musk's numerous companies. Unfortunately for NEOM in 2023, Hyperloop filed for bankruptcy and ceased operations. These factors of transportation and removal of human interactions within NEOM and the line raise questions about people actually wanting to live in a space like this. Furthermore, if NEOM houses the promised 9 million people it says it will, the population density of the line will be 256,705 people per square kilometer. The country in the world currently with the highest population density is Monaco, with a population density of 24,621 people per square kilometer. The line will be cramped, to say the least. Much controversy surrounds NEOM around its alleged greenwashing. Everywhere you look on the NEOM website, they make it clear everything will work on 100% renewable energy and will be a leading global example of urban environmental practices. While it might be true that when NEOM has finished construction and is operating, it will have low emissions, that still doesn't take into account the emissions being produced during its construction. Steel, cement, and concrete are all needed to build NEOM, but each produces a serious amount of CO2 in their construction. On top of that, these materials will also have to be delivered to construction sites using fossil-fueled vehicles. It is difficult to get an estimate of how much CO2 will be produced from construction, but to put it into perspective, large infrastructure projects can emit anywhere from 400 to 1,000 kilograms of CO2 per square meter. NEOM will cover several million square feet. This puts a very different spin on the whole low-carbon footprint NEOM is painting. Their renewable energy could take decades before ever being able to offset emissions produced from construction. As you've probably figured out by now, this project is going to cost an unfathomable amount of money to build and then maintain. The cost associated with the project has led to rumors around downsizing NEOM, especially the line. Originally, by 2030, the line was planned to house 1.5 million people. Now officials expect the development will house fewer than 300,000. Officials have long said the line would be built in stages, but with the latest pullback, officials expect to have just 2.4 kilometers of the project completed by 2030. One contractor has reportedly been laying off their workforce. The estimations of the true cost just to build NEOM have also increased from $500 billion to $1.5 trillion. Estimations like this are starting to freak out even the highest levels of Saudi's government. The kingdom's sovereign wealth fund has not yet approved NEOM's budget for 2024, most likely because of these fears. The PF is assessing many different options to assist in raising capital for NEOM. Accelerating debt sales and lining up equity offerings have been some of the strategies the PIF has been considering, according to Bloomberg News. The PF has to raise capital from foreign investment as their cash reserves have dropped down to just $15 billion. Sure, yes, this is still such a large number I cannot properly fathom it. But keep in mind, in 2022, Crown Prince Mohammed said the first phase of NEOM was expected to cost $320 billion. Half of this was to come straight from the PIF, and I'll let you in on a little secret. Half of $320 billion isn't $15 billion. NEOM has had some success in one regard, though, and that is its development of a more than $8 billion project to build solar and wind farms. The energy produced from these renewable sources will be used to power their green hydrogen facility. NEOM is a massively ambitious project, if not slightly unrealistic in a lot of areas. NEOM represents Saudi Arabia's bold vision for the future, a revolutionary urban development that promises to redefine city living through the use of cutting-edge technology and sustainable practices. With projects like the Line, Oxagon, and Trojena, NEOM aims to attract global attention and investment, transforming the country's economy and positioning it as a leader in innovation and sustainability. However, the road to realizing this vision is filled with significant challenges and controversies. The displacement of the Huitat tribe raises serious human rights concerns, casting a shadow over the project's ethical foundations. The feasibility of integrating a vast array of untested technologies, such as AI-driven smart grids, is wildly optimistic and may face numerous technical and logistical hurdles. Furthermore, the sheer scale and complexity of NEOM's infrastructure present daunting tasks in terms of implementation and data management. In theory, NEOM is an excellent idea, offering a glimpse into a utopian future where technology and sustainability can peacefully coexist. It promises economic diversification, job creation, and solutions to many of the world's most pressing problems. However, in practice, the project's success is uncertain. The ethical dilemmas, technological challenges, and immense financial costs involved may hinder NEOM's ability to fulfill its grand promises. While NEOM could potentially set new standards for urban development, its practical implementation remains to be seen. NEOM will have to overcome significant obstacles to avoid becoming another unrealized mega project. So that's NEOM in a nutshell. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.